What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of Big Men on Basketball. It is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. I hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. We are back at it and better than ever here on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Jeff Nadu, here on the Barstool Sports YouTube channel. As you know, we're here every day at 4 o'clock breaking down the goings-on in college basketball and other betting cards. Today, we are going to do the unthinkable. We are going to go through every game. I'm going to give you a thought. I'm not going to have a pick for every game, but I'm going to give you a thought. How would I look at these games? We have a card that I think is obtainable with one person to go through every game. Before we do that, though, I do want to discuss a story that is very sad, quite frankly. Something that I've been talking about. I kind of remember when this first happened. I put some of this information out. And for anyone that hasn't followed this situation, it regards the University of Alabama and their basketball program. About a month ago, one of the players on the team, a person called Darius Miles, according to the police in Tuscaloosa, was involved in the murder of a single mother on the campus of Alabama. He and another individual allegedly committed this murder. Nate Oates was pretty vocal about it. He discussed that Mr. Miles was no longer on the team, and they moved on and are back to their season. Well, the trial began today in Tuscaloosa, and I got to be honest, I am going to erupt on Nate Oates. This is absolutely sickening behavior by him. This is an individual that is leading one of the best basketball programs in America, and this is the response. This is what you're going to give to the people of the area that you live in, the community, the university, the other players on the team. What kind of precedence does this set? Let me explain what's going on. So at the trial today, we would learn that Mr. Miles texted another player, a player called Brandon Miller, who's one of the better players on Alabama. He contacted Mr. Miller and asked him to bring him a gun. Mr. Miller subsequently took the gun to Mr. Miles and exchanged it and handed it off in a car. Mr. Miles then used the gun to viciously kill someone in cold blood. Now, according to Nate Oates, no harm, no foul here in terms of basketball. Mr. Miller's not a problem here. He didn't do anything wrong. He's not a victim, Nate Oates. Now, I'm going to tell you this. According to the government, according to the police down there, they say Mr. Miller didn't commit any criminal charges because Mr. Miller is cooperating with the government and with the state of Alabama, and that's why Mr. Miller isn't going to face criminal charges here. Remember, though, Mr. Miller did do this. He willingly handed a gun off to a violent psychopath who used it to kill someone in cold blood. What kind of precedent does this set, Nate Oates, to the rest of your program? What kind of precedent does this set for the university? And what kind of precedent does this set to any other kid? First of all, why does Mr. Miller have a gun on a college campus? That's a big question I have. And this has happened under his watch, Nate Oates' watch. And this is any coach in America. I'll admit, I'm not a big fan of Nate Oates on the court. I don't love him as a coach. That said, we can't disagree that he hasn't been a terrific leader off the court until today. This is pathetic, and shame on Nate Oates for making it out like Mr. Miller is a victim. He's not a victim. Listen, it's not like these kids used the gun to go, like I said in the video, stick a business up or something. Not that that's good or anything, but someone died. A young woman died behind the decision of Mr. Miller. What did Mr. Miller think he was going to do with the gun? I don't understand. Why else would you have a gun? Well, to defend yourself, according, I guess, to what he thought. That said, wouldn't you have just said, hey, don't text me again. I don't want nothing to do with this. No, Mr. Miller willingly walked to that location and gave Mr. Miles the gun. Shame on Nate Oates that this is the response he has to this. How does Mr. Miller not get suspended? How does he not get kicked off the team? When are we going to make these kids accountable for their decisions? You're a leader of men, Nate Oates. You're someone who they ask to guide them through adulthood as basketball players. It's not just about winning games. You should make the right decision and suspend Mr. Miller. That's what you should do. You should teach him a lesson for his behavior. Decisions have consequences, and his decision directly affected what Mr. Miles did. Think if Mr. Miles was never given a gun, murder's prevented. It absolutely is prevented because Mr. Miles didn't have a gun. I don't know what we're doing here. Shame on Mr. Nate Oates. All right, let's get into some of your comments and really into the games tonight, which I want to do. This is something though I did want to discuss and I wanted to talk about and kind of get into it here. All right, let's talk basketball. We'll start up at the top. I want to get into every game today, and what I'm going to do is I have the Barstool Sportsbook. I'm opening it up as we speak. And I'm going to go down the list of games, and we're going to go over every game. Again, there might not be an opinion on some of these, but I'm going to do what I can to offer my opinion. There's the app. Let's get into this game. 238 people in here. Welcome in. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. And I know Barstool Sportsbook appreciates it. Please do us a favor and subscribe to the show. Let's get into it. I want to start up at the top. This game starts at 6:30 p.m. It is the only game on the card that starts at 6:30 p.m. It is Villanova visiting Xavier. Now, this game's interesting because this number opened 6 in favor of obviously Xavier, dropped quickly to 5, and now it's at 4.5. Big question is, I'll tell you right now, okay, and I've said this before, I'm not a big fan of betting on Villanova. I don't know how good this team really is. Now, I know Xavier's not without Fremantle. They're not going to have certain kids in there today. And look, if I give a pick on every game, what I would do here, if I had to bet this game, and I'm being honest, I would probably lean Nova. I wish I could have got 6. But again, I don't like Villanova. I'm not a big fan of this program right now and kind of where they're headed. Throw in the fact that they're on the road here. Not a lot to really be interested in. When you look at Xavier, I think what worries me is when you back a team like Villanova, you want certain things that they do. They don't turn the ball over. They're the best team in America from the free throw line. They can hang in games. That's the truth. You look at their last 3 road games, lost by 13 to Providence, lost by 5 to Creighton, and lost by 9 to Marquette. So I don't know if there's a lot of wiggle room here for Villanova. It's a pass for me. I would avoid it. 7 o'clock, my opinion, might be the best game on the card tonight. Akron-Toledo. This is going to be a great game in the MAC. And I've talked before, I love Kent, I love Akron, and I love Toledo. I love all 3 of these teams out of Ohio. I think it's going to be a dogfight to see who wins the MAC this year. Toledo was impressive first time these 2 teams played. It's a Friday night. I mentioned I like Toledo in that game. Toledo got the best of Akron. Now they're at home. It's hard to go into Akron and win. Toledo did it. Now they're back at home. And guess what? Toledo has won 11 games in a row. These are 2 kind of opposite type of teams. Akron wants to play super slow, defend, use their big and their guards to kind of run kind of the pick and roll. Toledo wants to go up and down. They're 5 out. Attack the rim. They can shoot the rock. A lot of good things there offensively. I was up in the air on this one because that's a huge revenge game. It's a huge game in this conference. If I had to play it, I lean Toledo. I just think they get the best of Akron. I really do. I just think they're right now playing the best basketball of anyone in this conference. But it's a hard one, man. It's all going to be about who establishes the tempo they want to play at. Toledo wants to play fast. Akron wants to play slow. I would assume Toledo gets the pace they want. If Toledo gets the pace they want, this game goes over. If Akron gets the pace, they cover and the game goes under. Pretty simple. I don't want to flip a coin on who I think that happens with because, again, I do think Freeman's a problem if I'm Toledo. You got to keep him on the perimeter. That's where you want him to play. And this is a team I like in Toledo. I lean them here, but it's a great game. This should be a good one. I could see it very much coming down to the wire. Baylor, Kansas State. Okay, I'll admit, I'm going to tell you right now, I played this one at 147.5. I played the over. This one opened a lot lower too. I just thought it was a bad number. I'll be honest. I thought I'd put this number at 151. That's where I put it. It opened 145. I just think it was a bad number. I don't really know what that number was all about. I don't know where it came from. Didn't make a lot of sense to me. First game they played was 97-95. It went to overtime. You have two teams that are very guard reliant, whether it's Keontae George, Marquise Noel, two really good downhill teams. And I know Baylor's defense has improved a little bit since JTT came back. But do we still trust it? A lot of talent on both sides here. I'm not a big fan of Kansas State on defense. I'm, in the end, not a big fan of Baylor on defense. This game kind of screamed first to 75 wins for me. I'm not that worried about the fact that the line opened, but it's moving up, which helps, and that's what you want when you bet it over. You don't want a line at 145 that you bet to go down, right? That's not good. You want it to go up. I look at both these teams, and I see an aesthetically pleasing basketball game. I really do. Again, I think we can start looking at Baylor and saying to ourselves, this, I think, to me, is the best team in the Big 12 when a rubber meets the road at full health. I mean, George, Flagler, I mean, this is a really great offense, man. Really great. And adding JTT into the mix, that gives you some depth. That gives you some much-needed help in the front court, a defensive prowess that you can kind of put in the middle and say, stand there and defend. That's something you didn't have. And now we all of a sudden see Baylor, they're playing some really good basketball. I know they're off a loss, which I think if I had to choose a side here, I would, with bated breath, I would lean Baylor. But it's hard to bet against K-State and Bramlage. It's a great game. I'm just going to hope that both teams score. First to 75 wins. That's what I think. I'm continuing to go down the card. Okay. And there's going to be games I run into that I'm not real interested in, like the next one, Bowling Green, Miami O. Bowling Green is year after year under Michael Huger, one of the worst defensive teams in the country. No different this year. This team hasn't won since the end of January. It's been a calendar month since Bowling Green last won. I have no interest in backing this team. They've really gotten hit with transfers. A lot of kids have left this program. They're in a bad way. Miami of Ohio is not much better. Both these teams want to play up and down. Reason the total is at 152.5. Both these teams want to play up and down. I wouldn't have any interest in playing either team. It's a pass. CMU Buffalo, same thing. I have to feel like good spot for Buffalo to kind of flex their muscles. Look, do I think Buffalo is a Buffalo of usual? No. I mean, they're not going to be a team that goes to the NCAA tournament. But one thing is they play very fast. They're still a pretty good offensive team, and defensively, they're not good. You look at who they played recently, though. A lot of Akrons, a lot of Kent States, a lot of Ohio's. You look at what they've done against bad teams. I mean, they've scored up and down. I would probably just lean on, if you want to play something in this game, I have a hard time playing it over because I don't know if Central Michigan can do enough. I have a hard time laying 12 with Buffalo because I just don't really want to lay double digits with them. And C, I'd probably lean on just hoping Buffalo can score, but it's not a game I'm betting on. Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, they're one of the best against the spread teams in America. How are they doing it? Making their free throws. They're shooting the ball at a really high level. The problem you have with Pittsburgh, though, is you get that game where they don't shoot the ball well. Okay, you look at it in America, they're top 30 in three-point attempts to field goal attempts. What does that mean in lay terms? It means they shoot a lot of threes compared to twos. And you're a slave to the three-point shot. They either make them or they don't. Now, that said, they've made a lot of them this year. This is a top 5 team in the ACC from the three-point line. And Georgia Tech stinks. I mean, everybody knows that. This is a bad team, one of the worst Power 5 teams in America. I feel like you're paying a bit of a premium to bet on Pittsburgh at this point. First game is 71-60. Wouldn't have covered this number. I would just maybe assume the under. I could see a similar game to what we saw the first time, but not a game that really stuck out much to me. Kent State, Ball State. Ball State's kind of a team that I have on the second level of the MAC. They're not exactly Kent, Akron, or Toledo, but I don't think they're that far off. I think you make the case they're the 5th best team in this conference. They're what Buffalo has been in years past. I think they're a really dangerous team when we get to March. If I have a team that I'm looking at, Ball State's really interesting. And I think if you're Kent, the one problem you're concerning yourself with is all of a sudden Kent's defense has not looked great. They're giving up a lot of points. This is, I think, a dangerous spot if you're Kent. I mean, while they've been good on defense, I mean, you look at recently for Kent, I mean, when they play the upper echelon teams, they've kind of struggled a little bit occasionally defensively. So I have a little worry there. Plus, throw in the fact they put teams on the free throw line a lot. And Ball State, if you foul a lot, they're going to kill you. because they are top 5 in America getting to the line. That's a big thing and a big sticking point if you're Ball State. Ball State's damn good at getting to the line. They don't make them. That's the problem. Didn't have much here. Not one of the better MAC games on the card, if I'm being honest. Miami, Virginia Tech. I've talked before. I love Miami. I think they're a very good team long term. Nigel Pack is the best guard they've had there in a while. I like Ormir on the block, the transfer from the Sun Belt. And I just feel like they're a really cohesive group right now. Now, this is a dangerous spot going into Blacksburg. I'm not a big fan of Mike Young and this team. I think they're kind of on life support right now. But this is a kind of a tough spot. I mean, remember, this is a revenge game at home for Vautech. And remember, a couple of weeks ago, played Duke, beat that team at home in one of these kind of similar spots. We also look at this line and we say to ourselves, okay, unranked team at home, laying points. Why is that? Here's the thing with Miami. You go in this game and you lose, there's not really any harm or foul. Virginia Tech's still a top 65 team. I mean, it's not a great loss, but I don't think it's a horrific loss either. I have a hard time fading Miami, but this seems like one of those typical like stub your toe spots. I'll be kind of looking at this and observing on how Miami performs in this game, because this is a game where you slip up, right? If they just keep kind of taking care of business, you gotta think to yourself, all of a sudden, Miami's the best team in the ACC possibly. Very good team long term. This isn't going to change my view on Miami, but I'm going to watch it tonight and see how they play. Spot wise, it leans Vautech. I don't think let's just say this. I feel like I can almost kind of record how this game's going to go. I think it's probably a game where it's pretty close, and then Vautech finds a way to pull away and win by like 7 to 10 points. And Miami stubs their toe. That's how I think this will go. Mississippi State, Missouri. So the box score in this game the first time these two teams played was so interesting because for whatever reason, right, one of the worst teams in America from the three-point line is Mississippi State. Okay, I think they're 362nd in three-point percentage. Now, if you're Dennis Gates, the thought would be, I'm going to zone them because they can't shoot. But he was so worried about getting destroyed on the glass that he didn't zone them. You look at the first game, Missouri held Mississippi State to 3 for 20 from 3. Now, your thought would be, well, Missouri probably won the game. Well, no. It was 63-52 Mississippi State because they shot 60% from 2. Listen, Dennis Gates, you're at home here. Make some adjustments. You're probably going to get Trago Million back. He should play more minutes. He didn't play the first game. I think Missouri's the play here. I think they turn Mississippi State into what they were in the first game. And I think, quite frankly, I think the game could be a lot similar from a score standpoint. I don't know if Missouri is going to run away and win this game 85-80. I don't think that's what it's going to be. I think this is probably like a, 67-57 type of game. I'm kind of getting there on Missouri. I'm close on this one. I don't know. In the back of my head, I always just feel like they're St. John's. Like, that's what I think they are. And Dennis Gates, for whatever reason, doesn't do things that make a lot of sense a lot of the time. Like, any basketball peewee will tell you, if a team can't shoot, you should zone them, which is what he should do here. But he is so concerned about Tolu Smith going off. I would kind of approach Mississippi State tonight like I would approach Purdue. Let Tolu Smith have 25 points. Let him have 20 points. You just don't let anyone else kill you. And I think Missouri just has better athletes and better players. Murray State, Missouri State. I don't have a lot on this one. This is not a vintage Murray team. Remember, Matt McMahon's long gone. And Steve Prom is there. I don't know. They don't really do much well. Defensively, they're a bit of a mess. And Missouri State's actually pretty solid. I know they haven't looked great lately. They just can't make free throws. And that's the problem with Missouri State. So if you're going to lay 6 points here, you're betting one of the worst free throw shooting teams in America. The rubber's starting to meet the road in the Missouri Valley. There's only 2 games left in this conference. So, you look at both these teams. I mean, not playing for a whole lot here. I mean, Murray's not winning anything, and Missouri State's 10-8. So it's all about getting to the end here and getting to the Missouri Valley tournament. Northern Illinois, Ohio. I don't know much. This reminds me a lot of the Buffalo game. I'm not really running to back Ohio right now, like I'm not with Buffalo. St. Louis and Richmond. Interesting game here in the A10. Remember, no Chris Mooney right now for St. Louis or for Richmond. And by the way, Chris Mooney, I could call a friend. At one point, he was very impressed with. He said to me, "Wow, you really know your basketball." When I interviewed him way back in 2021 on Big Men on Basketball, and we had it on podcast for him. He was impressed with Nadu's knowledge. Shout out to Mooney. I hope he gets well. Good man from the Philly area, a great coach. I've talked though before. I hate St. Louis. I hate this team. They always seem to play down the competition. I hate Richmond on defense, which is a norm. I don't love them in offense like I've liked them in years past. This is kind of a game where it's a bit of a flip to me. This is a great spot for St. Louis, but they've had a lot of great spots, and they've let me down 2 or 3 different times. So I'm out on St. Louis. Don't really have any interest in Richmond. Tennessee A&M. This is a big one because Tennessee's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. They have been swept by the University of Kentucky. They've lost 3 of 4 and 4 of 6 overall. All of a sudden, they look kind of mortal, if you will. There's still no number one defensively in the land, efficiency-wise. We don't really know what A&M is just yet. At least I don't, because they haven't really played anybody. I mean, I guess I was impressed with them beating Arkansas, but I don't really think Auburn. I don't think Auburn's that good. I mean, I guess they swept them. We haven't seen them play. We've seen them play Kentucky and they lost. We've seen them lost to Arkansas. I think it's a big game for them because Tennessee's kind of circling the drain a little bit. And they're still a great defensive team. The problem I have with Tennessee and why I can't jump in with them right now at this price is because I don't know who's playing for them right now. And they're a team where if I'm back in Tennessee, I want Julian Phillips. I want a healthy, whoever, whether it's Ziegler or whoever. I want them fully healthy. So you lose to Kentucky without Severe Wheeler and CJ Frederick. You lose by double digits. I just don't know if they have enough options to score to basketball right now. So tough one. I know there are a lot of comments coming in. I'm kind of just in my zone right now, guys. So let me just kind of get through the card and then I'll go back here. 370 people in here. Welcome in. Shout out. Just know that Nadu can still do this. VCU St. Joe's. VCU, I've said before, I think is the best team in the A10. I think when the rubber meets the road, they will win this conference. That said, I think St. Joe's is a bit of a kind of a stub your toe spot. I think St. Joe's is got some decent guards, actually, if I'm being honest. I don't hate them. I obviously love Lynn Greer. I mean, Lynn Greer, I watched his father play at Temple University in the early 2000s, one of my favorite college players ever. I feel like Billy Lang has some decent kids here. For him, it's going to be about, can he retain them and can he go out and kind of improve this team? Going out and finding those JUCO kids, keeping the kids like Taylor Funk to stay instead of leave, right? I get a weird feeling this is a close game. I got a weird feeling. Something wants me to back St. Joe's here, and I'm not sure what it is. We haven't seen these two teams play that this year, but something tells me VCU with Richmond on deck seems like a little stub your toe spot. You know what? I'm going to take the St. Joe's Hawks tonight. Fear the Hawk, baby. Hawk Hill. I'm going to grab them. I think this is a tough spot for VCU. I do. You're off of a big win against Fordham, a blowout win at home. Now you got to go on the road, not too far away, up to Philadelphia, and you got Richmond on deck, your crosstown rival on Friday night. Hello, sandwich spot, baby. St. Joe's hangs tonight. I'm going to take those boys plus 5.5. So there you go. 2 plays so far I got. Baylor and Kansas State over. I played 147.5. And I'm on St. Joe's plus 5.5 at the Barstool Sportsbook. Let's keep it going. Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan. I would rather grade my dick with a cheese grater than bet this game. I couldn't care less about EMU. I hate this team on defense. I just think it's lob a ball and just run around for 40 minutes. That's what they do. And I have no interest in betting on Eastern or Western Michigan. Youngstown State, Robert Morris. This is another stub your toe spot. This number is dropping exponentially. This was 5.5. Now it's 4.5. People are taking big bites out of the Robert Morris kernels. I don't know who it is, but they're doing it. I see it, though. Here's what I would do if I like Robert Morris. I'm just taking the over. We know Youngstown will score. And for Robert Morris to hang in this game, they need to win this one like 81-79. They need to get this game up. And I feel like they hang in. I think it's one of those games where it's like, we love Youngstown, a good offensive team, but they can't stop anybody. First road game, it seems like in a while. I feel like Youngstown always plays at home. Kind of maybe an angle. Similar to St. Joe's, possibly. Who's Youngstown have on deck? I get a feeling they got a big game on deck. Let's see here. No. And they have a finale on Saturday against IUPUI. So nothing to really look ahead to, but towards the end of the season, you have a game in hand, I believe, 14-4. Now, I'm not telling you should go out and bet against Youngstown. I would just take the over here probably, but I didn't get it. ECU Tulsa. Guys, Tulsa's horrible. Tulsa's really bad, man. And I feel for Eric Conkle. I feel like this team should be better, but you got to get your guys in there, and he doesn't really have much talent there. ECU should win, but who knows with them as well. I mean, they've lost some weird games this year. Marquette Creighton. I threw out the first result these two teams have because Creighton did have Kalkbrenner. I'll keep saying it. This is another team that can win the national title. Creighton, fully healthy. They're really, really good. And I think this line really tells you what you need to know. I think Creighton wins by double digits here. What do we know about Creighton? Really good at home, really good, fully healthy, and they don't turn the ball over. They're awesome on defense. Something tells me they win like 79-69 here. I think they pull away. They don't turn the ball over. And Kalkbrenner's the difference here. A guy they didn't have in the first game. It's that simple. That's how I would play this game. A lot of good people in here. I'll get to you guys in a bit. I'm a little just kind of in the zone right now, so I'm going to keep going. Fresno Air Force. Another game where I think the first game is not really kind of what I think this game is. I think Isaiah Hill and Jamari Baker both didn't play for Fresno in the first game. I've talked about I love Justin Hudson. I think he's a really good coach. He's great defensively. And Air Force, I feel like, it's gotten a little bit too much love. I don't know. Lean Fresno. I didn't bet it, though. Georgia, Arkansas. I don't know if Georgia's as bad as they looked the other night. And I don't know if Arkansas is really a team that I want to lay this kind of number with either. Though Nick Smith is back, maybe this is finally the time they get right, and maybe Georgia's just bad. Couple games tonight where I don't really like either side, so I'm just kind of going over it and going through it. Michigan State, Indiana. If there's a spot on the card that makes total sense tonight, it's Michigan State. This does. I like Indiana. But again, a stub your toe spot. Why is a unranked team a favorite against Indiana? Playing really well right now. I think what Tom Izzo is kind of understanding is he'll do what they do in the Big Ten when you play Indiana or Michigan or Purdue. They will let the big kind of do what he wants to do. Now, I think Hall and Sissoko are capable, but let's just say TJD goes off for 20 tonight. Just don't let anybody else beat you. Don't let Hood Schifino beat you. Don't let, Race Thompson beat you. Don't let those guys beat you. Throw in the fact that it's a road game for Indiana. I don't love them on defense. They struggled even with a sick Tyson Walker in the first game. I think Indiana gets beat up on defense tonight. I really do. Now throw in also the emotion factor. Okay, this is the first game in Lansing since the shooting the other day. This seems like one of those environments where, and guys, again, I'm going to strengthen this argument. I mean, home teams in a Big Ten are on, like, it's a crazy run. I think from what I heard, I think 3-Man Weave put this out. I think home teams in conference play this year are 68 and like 40. That's crazy. Spartans, Izzo, the environment. I like the matchup for them here schematically. Seems like a good spot. First half, maybe come out on fire. Just have to be up at the half. Iowa State, Texas, lined open 8. It's down to 7. It's hard for me to get involved here because I don't know what the status of Caleb Grill is. I think Grill's integral to Iowa State. Texas is just one of those teams. I'm waiting to see how they look in March. They're going to be in the tournament. They haven't really shown much consistency. I get a feeling when, like I keep saying, the rubber meets the road, I think Texas is going to be really good. It's kind of a line I thought was good. I don't know if Grill plays, I would lean Iowa State. If you get some info on that, maybe bet this game live. If Texas doesn't have to see Grill, I feel like maybe they're the play here. Tough one. Texas Tech, Oklahoma. Texas Tech is all of a sudden playing themselves into a possible tournament berth. This is how good the Big 12 is. Remember when Texas Tech was 2-10 in conference? Well, they've rattled off several in a row, and they have an opportunity for another quad one win tonight. Huge game for Texas Tech. And I think in the end, I think Oklahoma has proven to be just the weakest of all the good teams. I think in any other conference, they're probably pretty good, but this is such a top-heavy conference that Oklahoma is just the odd team out. Another tough one. Must win for Texas Tech. Utah State, Wyoming. Something tells me, guys, that Wyoming is cooked. I think they've been cooked all year. I think this is a team that just isn't very good. I don't know who's playing for this team on a nightly basis. They never had Graham Ike healthy. He's very much not even played. I don't know who's in there on a nightly basis for them. And Utah State is dangerous. I don't care if they're at home or on the road. This team, as we've talked about, Kelly and I and other guests, this team can flat out shoot, man. They can flat out shoot. Number 5 in America in three-point percentage. They have just been nasty offensively. And they're pretty good on defense too. They ran rough shot by 20 in the first game. I'm not really sure what a change of venue is going to do here. I got a feeling Wyoming just isn't good. Are we kind of seeing that? 2 more, Nevada and San Jose. San Jose is pesky under Tim Miles. Amari Moore, a pretty good player for that group. But Nevada is nails at home. Kelly and I have talked about that. Kelly has mentioned she doesn't bet against Nevada anymore at home. I feel like that's the best way to play it. We've seen this line kind of back and forth between 8.5 and 9. Might be a little too many. Might be a little inflated at this point. I don't know. Maybe Nevada comes out slow here and we get a better live line. Like maybe San Jose comes out and leads like 10-4 and we get a good play on Nevada. This is a game I probably will bet live, or maybe in the second half, because Nevada is very good in the second half. That's the thing to keep an eye on in this game. We're approaching 400 people live on YouTube. Thank you for being here. Do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you're checking us out on Twitter, what's up? How you doing? Hope you're enjoying the show. I don't a lot of the time I go over every game, but I try to. So if you're here and enjoy what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button. A lot of good shows here on the channel, whether it's Money Shots or Pick Central. I'd have to imagine this is where the March Madness streams are going to be. If you have a question on anything, you're welcome to ask. Final game tonight, 11 o'clock, final game on the card. Colorado State, San Diego State. Colorado State over the last couple of years has been kind of a tough team in this conference. And any other year, this should be a very high number. But I just don't really think this team's very good on defense. This over might be worth a look. I feel like San Diego State's been a little bit more into running this year. I think they're more talented than they've been in years past offensively. But that said, they can also really shut you down on offense. The one constant with Colorado State is they're still a very good offensive team. This is the best 2-point offense in this conference. And you look at the first time, scored 76 in this game. So I don't know. San Diego State has New Mexico on deck on Saturday in the pit. So maybe Colorado State sneaks behind the back door here. I'll be honest, when I first saw this line, I thought it was a tick high. But you guys know I have no success with San Diego State, betting on them or against them. I like a couple tonight. I like St. Joe's plus 5.5 against VCU. I think that's a really good spot for the Hawks. I like over 147.5 in Baylor K-State. I'm thinking about Missouri. Maybe we'll try to get them live. I'm also thinking about Nevada at some point. So we'll see how Dennis Gates does. I'd love to see him zone, but we'll see. Let's go through some comments here and see what people have to say. I'm obviously we'll try to start at the top. Michael Raftery says, I think Bama needs to get rid of Oates. Just start fresh. I don't think you can come back from this. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a really sickening situation, quite frankly. And it all happened under the watch of Nate Oates. I mean, this is who has to pay the price in these types of things. This is not something that this is a murder, man. Someone died. A young woman died. The fact that your players are running around with guns and killing people, I mean, someone has to be held accountable for this. And this is the job you have as coach. What's up, Ron? How you doing? How you doing? Absolutely. Not anymore. Not anymore. And again, guys, when we talk about wasted talent, these are the decisions you make that can affect your life forever. And I hate to go back to like a film, but this is how it goes, man. I have a series on YouTube where I talk about players in sports that have ruined their careers because of crime. Now, can a kid learn from this? Maybe, but I think you have to hold someone accountable for this. And it's not like he just, picked up someone after they robbed the store or something. I mean, he provided a gun to someone that killed somebody. Remember, if he didn't do this, this young woman would probably still be alive, and we would prevented a homicide. All right. A couple other comments here. A-Ride says Miami money line. Yeah, I if it's not broke, don't fix it. I guess that's your thought, and I get it. Foley says, sadly, you know why. He's their best player. 100%. If this kid was the 9th player off the bench, he'd have been kicked off the team. You know it, and I know it. And this is the continued problem with some of these schools. People sweep this stuff under the carpet and do nothing. And no one is held accountable for their behavior. If I'm Nate Oates, I would have called Mr. Miller into the office and I said, Mr. Miller, you're a good dude. I don't think you're a bad kid. But you made a decision that it affected multiple lives. By you doing what you did, you're a grown man. You know what you did was wrong. We're going to have to get rid of you. This is how it goes. There's certain things you can't look past. And as someone that, I'm not saying I know everything in the world about criminal acts and things, but I've studied a lot of it over the years. It's pretty cut and dry here. I mean, he was spotted. The text message is pretty damning, quite frankly. And they've admitted it. They've admitted this happened. That's the problem you have here. They've admitted this has happened. And Nate Oates is making excuses for him. So it's not like it might have happened. No, it happened. Good luck, Tommy. Good luck. Thank you for watching, James. Jefferson C, what's up, my man? How you doing? Xavier's 5-2 ATS after a loss. All right. Well, good stuff. Good luck to whatever you play there. Is it a time to back St. Louis after back-to-back wins? Yeah, of course they've won back-to-back because nobody's betting on them now. That's what they do. Thank you, James. Nadu is the GOAT. Thank you. I don't know about that, but I tried to. Yes, he did say that. He said, wow, you really know your basketball. He definitely did. Dexter Rojas, Nadu crew. Thank you. Trust that shrinking gut. I will. Matt Boker says it was my $5 that moved the right Robert Morris line. Yeah, maybe. It's Maldonado's last home game. Hey, I don't care much about that. Thank you for the under last night. Oh, yeah. Texas A&M Commerce. That wasn't easy, but it got there. Go off, Nadu. My boy's on fire. Yeah, trying to be. You said you like Nevada in second half, so maybe San Jose first half +6. I'm not playing it, but if that's how you want to play it, you're welcome to it. I mean, they're a pesky little team. Seems awful suspect how fast he was to defend Brandon Miller. Figured PR would train him to say no comment on stuff like this. Yeah, well, that's what he does. And the fact that makes it even more laughable is he essentially admitted that Mr. Miller did this, but he didn't do anything wrong. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. No, that's not correct. That's not correct, Nate Oates. Wrong place in the wrong time means that you were walking down the street and two people just decided to shoot at each other and you were in the middle of it. That's wrong place at wrong time. Wrong place in the wrong time is not willingly, hey, bring me a gun. Okay, I'll come and bring you the gun. I then come and bring you the gun. That's not wrong place, wrong time. Darius is going to jail. Yes, he is, for capital murder. Yep, absolutely. Good point. Good point. Yep, good point. Good point. Do you like Tennessee money line? I don't. If everyone's playing, I can see it, but I don't know if everyone's playing. Do I have any thoughts on Toledo over 75.5? I lean that way because I feel like, to me, Toledo controls the tempo, but I don't know. It's going to be a great game. I would see what the pace looks like early on. You know, it's kind of rudimentary way of thinking, but someone's going to win the tempo. But I'd assume it's Toledo. They did it the first time, and they're at home here. Maybe a team suspends you for a few games, but if the cops aren't pressing charges, then he shouldn't be kicked off the team. Okay, so that's okay. How would your job react to that, Con Hall? Let me ask you. What would your job say? I'm not sure. I guess at least to what I'm looking at, I don't see how he's not under criminal charges here for this, but I'm not. I don't. The reason he's not under criminal charges is because he's cooperating. That's why. Notice they said in the affidavit he's cooperating with all charges and he's being forthright in his information. What does that mean? That means he was probably said, listen, tell us what happened. Get us a conviction on these two, and we will not press charges on you. That's what he's doing here. Come on, guys. This is why it's important to know the laws and know how things work and how they do things. And this is what they're doing here. This guy's not a victim, okay? I don't know how you can allow this guy on your team, but that's just me. That's a good point as well. We also look at who this person is. He's a high-level basketball player, so he does everything differently than all of us. He's allowed to do certain things. And again, remember, they probably said to him, tell us what happened. Tell us this is where the gun came from. We just want a conviction on these two individuals, and you're good. It still doesn't mean he didn't do this. And I'll ask anyone, including Nate Oates, what if this was your son? Would you let him on the team? Is this the kind of model you want to tell your kids about? And what does this tell kids that come to this university? Hey, if you come play for us, you can do whatever you want. You can even provide a gun to a criminal. And guess what? If it happens, we'll give you a slap on the wrist, but you'll be okay. I think it's a bad precedent, personally. But I guess we'll see. When March Madness comes, would you recommend a half unit plays or full unit play? Listen, I'm playing full units right now. It's your ability as a man or woman to understand what you can afford. You should be responsibly gambling. You should gamble on what you like and what you can afford. Okay? Please responsibly gamble. As the top left says there, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Make sure you understand the rigors of what gambling actually means and do your due diligence. That said, I just play a regular unit on a game. That's how I do things. Watching from Scotland, I got the Nadu Army here watching. Thank you, Eric Leduc. You've been around forever. Thank you, brother. What is your overall take on buying points? I don't buy points. Not in basketball. Maybe on a football game, but or NFL or something, but I don't buy points in college for sure. Cough Drop says, what are your thoughts on a one-on-one game versus Rear Admiral from the Chicklets? I feel like it would be a good match. Well, I guarantee I would win. And by the way, remember, a lot of you think that was the true Nadu in the Barstool Idol footage. Remember, I was trying to be funny. I'm actually a pretty decent basketball player. If you want, we can prove that. I'll face RA. I'll even go to his turf to do it. As I said, Nate, I told you why he's not being criminally held, because he's cooperating. That's why. Talk to me nice, Nadu. Can't wait for March Madness. Yeah, neither can I. Neither can I. Nadu, I met Mad Dog Russo and Adam Shine. Next on my list is you. All right. Well, I will be somewhere in America for March Madness. You'll learn soon where that is, and maybe you can come to the book. I can't wait for the MAC tournament. It's going to be electric. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's going to be a great tournament. All right. Well, good luck. Stu Pidcock says, I'm watching anytime I'm off work on time. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, Stu. Thank you. Thank you for being here. What else do we have here? I see our friend Anton Feldman's here. The fucking kid that has never anything better to do than watch the show. Anton, we should thank you. Thank you for being here every day. Thank you for watching every second of what I do. You are one of my most brilliant fans we have. Thank you. You know, when I look back on my career and all this, you folks would be the first one I thank. People like you who want so badly to live the life we all live. Yet, unfortunately, you're in your basement right now of something probably owned by your parents. You don't have a job, and you're sitting there and you're saying, oh my God, why can't I be like him? I have to sit here and I have to do this every day. And I want so badly to be noticed, but I can't be noticed. And the only time I'm noticed is when I act like a fucking idiot. Anton, it's time to wake up tomorrow, go to your fucking bathroom mirror and look into it and say, how can I be better? This isn't the type of person my parents wanted me to be. It seems all of a sudden, though, that your parents probably should have just blew you into Kleenex, man. Wake up. Go away. Leave us alone. Stop being a douche. This is really how you want to live your life, Anton? This is the kind of life you want to live? Come on, you're better. Use the time you have on earth in a good way. I'm not that important. Think if you put the effort you put into coming in here every single day, for every second, think if you put that into something positive. Think how far you would be. But no, and we thank you for it. You'd rather dedicate it to me. So I guess we can thank you in a way. Now this is what I call a body bag. So it's your best interest to get in it and go the fuck away. All right. What is my favorite conference to watch? Well, I would say my favorite conference to watch, probably the Big 12. I mean, how could you not say the Big 12? Smaller conference, I'd probably say I like the Mountain West, honestly. I love the MAC, Southland, the MEAC. I love all sorts of conferences. I love basketball. What kind of name is Anton? Yeah, anyway. Good point. People named Anton suck. He literally contributes. Exactly. And notice everyone here knows he's here every day. He's that pathetic. Nadu for United States Supreme Court. Well, I've never heard that, but I'm not sure I'd want to do that. That's going to be the intro to the Nadu movie. Yeah, someone record that. Can someone record what I just did and send me that? That was pretty good, I have to admit. Even I'll give myself flowers for that one. I put Barstool bonus cash on Michigan to make the Final Four. It's 75-1. Wow. Well, I'll be rooting for you. I don't buy it, but I'll be rooting for you. Mountain West low-key might be the third best conference in America, fourth at worst. To watch, I enjoy it. I don't know if it's the third or fourth, but I think it's a great conference for sure. Connor Rueck says, my boy Pat is a huge fan of you. He's got golf locks every week. Okay, well, that sounds interesting. We should probably not be saying locks, but maybe you'll have to contact me. All right. Matt Mayer says, how about not wanting to be the person you are now? LOL, just to start. Yeah, that would be a good start for Anton. Just maybe stop being a total dickhead completely all the time. And notice he's disappeared. Maybe his feelings have been hurt. But we can guess he's still here. He's just hitting the computer and saying, "Oh, he got me." David DeConnick says Susan Anton was a hot actress back in the day. Really? Let me see. Let me see what she looked like. You're not wrong, actually. You're not wrong. Actually, pretty hot. Good call, David. Good call. Yes, that's a good call. Lowell, Vermont, and Brian. It's always been a one bid league, and it still will be, but it'll be a couple more teams. Pick Central Talk futures. Any thoughts on? I tweeted out last week about futures. Sean, you should follow me, man. I talk all the time about futures. I put a post out last week on that. All right, what else do we have here? I'll do a couple more minutes here, guys. Ryder Magaha says, Nadu, it's my boy Rob's birthday. Can you give him a shout out? Yes. Happy birthday to Rob, Ryder Magaha's friend. I don't know how old you are, but I wish you a buona fortuna, and I hope you have a great day. Salud. What did you do before making content? So I worked right out of high school for my father, who was in construction and still is. I also sold cell phones at one point, and I worked at a bank. And then in 2018 or 2017, 2018, I moved on. So yeah, a couple of jobs I had. I also in high school worked part-time for a pizzeria a friend of mine had. All right. We'll do a couple of more questions. Luke Johnson says, who's the best rack out there? Wow. Like I've said this before, Aisha Diaz. Aisha Diaz is the best looking girl on the planet, in my opinion. She is my favorite. She is my type. She is everything I'd want in a woman. And that's just my type. Some of us have other types. She's my type. I think she has a perfect body, at least to me. That's what I like. So, all right. Not that you care, but I think White Sox Dave got some home cooking on that V-Day challenge. It's all good. It was all in fun. Nadu, I bet you were a good salesman. Yeah, I feel like I was pretty good. Pizza jobs in high school are goated. I rolled pizza all through high school. Loved it. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite jobs I've ever had. I enjoyed that. I always think back to those years. What's for dinner tonight? So I'm back to not eating more. I only eat once a day. I kind of got off the thing a little bit where I was eating lunch and stuff, but I'm back to not eating. So dinner is pretty important. So I'm not sure. Definitely chicken Caesar. Might get a steak possibly. I'm not sure. What I'm going to eat. Definitely chicken Caesar for sure. But all right, guys, I'm out of here. Went over every game. I also gave you a couple of games that I like. St. Joe's plus 5.5. I like Baylor, K-State over 147.5. And I'm going to be looking live at Missouri and possibly Nevada. So we'll see. Do I like Five Guys? I don't eat fast food. It's not my thing. The only kind of fast food that I've eaten recently was the Billy Goat Tavern, and that's a restaurant. I don't eat fast food. I don't eat Chick-fil-A or any of that stuff. I'm not into that. So yeah, I don't do that. Do you do HelloFresh? I have before. It's a good service. Have you ever smoked big doinks in Amish? Nah. Nah. I do know people that do, but I have not personally. No. Shout out to that guy. Rest in peace to him. I forget his name, but yes, I remember that guy. Great insight. Thank you, Jefferson. That might be the best show we've done. Shout out to us. All right, guys. I'm out of here. You all enjoy your evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Big Man on Campus. This has been Big Man on Basketball. Please share the show. Tell your friends. We are here every day, 4 o'clock Eastern. We'll see you tomorrow.